Hey guys, it's Sean here from SeanSean.co. I also do specials on eBay, so you can get some of my smaller work there. I want to do a book review today of Walt Disney by Neil Gabler. I've read about half of it, kind of let it low, so I'll tell you about half the book, alright? But that's about 300-400 pages in. So basically, he starts as kind of an illustrator, working, newspapers and stuff, and then he finally gets his own company going off the ground, and he does really well going into the 20s, 30s. He's one of the few companies doing really well during the Depression, which is really interesting. But then when he gets to the war period, 1940, he gets bogged down. They stop. The war kind of commissions him and say, hey, we need all these propaganda films, and Walt Disney gets roped into that. So he switches doing all these propaganda films because most of the population can't afford to go to the movies as much. So they're living on a budget. They want to go to the movies, but they just aren't there, or they're at the war fighting, so they're not seeing these films. So he's kind of doing the Mickey's doing that along, and then he's doing all this propaganda film, just churning them out. So it's really interesting how he kind of survives the war years, because he couldn't do his big budget films. Another really interesting thing is early on when he develops Mickey Mouse, he kind of destroys the old Felix the Cat. If you ever seen a Felix the Cat with the top hat, he was kind of the brand name before Mickey came along. And basically, Mickey just came out with the new style, and it's a little bit more cuter, a little bit different, and he totally decimated Felix the Cat because they didn't innovate. So this is really important, especially when you think later on, like in our day, you have Pixar. They basically destroyed Disney, and then Disney said, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Let's buy Pixar. So now Pixar is owned by Disney, which kind of thinks is a tragedy, but they have better distribution, right? But anyway, Pixar, had that innovation. They destroyed the old Disney model that gotten stale. Another thing Disney did was going into the 50s and 60s, started kind of doing, these documentaries, trying to get away from Mickey Mouse. It was kind of overplayed at this point. And then he gets the idea for, hey, I like trains. So he starts collecting trains, and then he builds a whole mini train set. He builds a little bit bigger train you can actually ride in his yard, which is totally crazy. Probably the neighbors thought he was wild. And then from there, that kind of sprung the whole idea of Disney World. And as you see, every amusement park to this day always has a train going around the park, right? And that comes from the basic set that Disney had in his backyard. So every amusement park has copied that idea. And usually Disney World, they probably do a better job at the story behind each one of the rides. While they might not have always the best rides, but the ride as a cohesive whole kind of fits together better. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is really cool. Sometimes they have Johnny Depp visit, and that makes it, super badass for a ride. And no one thinks of going to Great American expect anything great besides an amusement park, right? But these Walt Disney World and Disneyland, they actually have visitors come several times, repeated times. I mean, I've only gone twice, and I think that's a lot, but they got people that go like once a year, which is totally crazy. And, they made the Disneyland cruise and all kind of crazy stuff later. I think they're kind of tapped out for ideas now, but, there's really a lot of good ideas from this guy, Walt Disney. And the interesting thing, too, is by the time he got to Mickey's, he had a whole crew drawing, and he wasn't really drawing the cartoons at all. He had his whole crew, and they were drawing it. Even though he came with the idea, they just took over the idea, and he had a whole illustrating crew. So that's, you can stack up as you become a creator, and actually have other people do the work. All right, that's my review. Hope you guys, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below what you think of Disney buying Pixar. Was it a tragedy or not? All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.